people don't believe it all the time, but we said it over and over again. I don't care what you do, who you are, you're in sales. You've been in sales. And then I always follow up with, I might be the greatest salesman ever because I've been able to talk my wife into staying with me for 40 years or how long it's been.
How's that working out for you, bro?
Pretty good so far, man.
Some days better than others?
Yeah, don't ask her how it's working out for her, though. I don't want to tip her off that I've been closing on her all these years, right?
Okay. She probably already knows.
Oh, yeah, well, she says, you know what she says.
No, what does she say? Let's do a podcast on that.
Let's leave that right there. As a matter of fact, since we're talking about sales, this is really good. And all kidding aside, guys, we do a lot of leadership training, sales training, operational engagement, personality profiles. We come in and help build culture, and we raise the culture. We really, truly help the rising tide raises all boats. That's what I was trying to say there. But there's one thing that this thing all started from, and Edwin Britt shared the stage with Mr. Zig Ziglar. He traveled with Zig. He mentored with Zig. So this guy has been through sales boot camp training. He's been number one in every single industry he's been in for the past 30-plus years. This guy is legit. I know we kid a lot, Edwin. We do a lot of things, but I really do want to talk about something we've been hearing a lot of. Every salesperson tells me this. They hate cold calling. What's the biggest thing that we hate doing? Oh, dude, I hate picking a phone, cold calling. It's just like I'm allergic to, all these crazy things they say. But I've noticed something, and we also talk a lot about the areas of your business. We talk about there is sales, marketing, operation, accounting, leadership, those 5 areas. And we're able to put those in the 5 buckets also. But really and truly, that's what you have to focus on. Your marketing, which gets you people to come in at sales. And then operations, that's what is super important to get to facilitate your business. All of them are super critical. HR and accounting is kind of one thing right there that we talk about, the back office. So you can call it accounting or back office. And then leadership, we always put that last because we believe it is about the servant mentality. You can have everything in life you want if you'll just help enough other people get what they want. But when it comes to sales, and if there was no sales, there wouldn't be anything, right? When it comes to sales, if you don't like cold calling, Edwin, talk to us a little bit about that, what we can do with it.
So selling is, at its core, something you do with and for someone, right? So we have to remember that, right? Selling is something.
Say it again.
Selling is something you do with and for someone, not to someone.
Thank you.
So often people are in financial services, or they have some license in a certain area. Get a financial license or real estate license, or they say, I don't want to be a salesperson. Now let me tell you, I'm not a salesperson. And to your point, everybody's in sales. You can do one of two things. You can either learn to embrace cold calling, and for me, I've done both, Michael. My first job coming out of college was a job that required cold calling. It was exclusively that. So I learned to embrace it pretty early. In fact, that was my introduction to Zig Ziglar.
Wow.
Yeah, he sent me out the door. My sales manager, they almost didn't hire me, but he saw something in me. Yep, that's right. Yeah. And he gave me this little cassette tape. He said, while you're out driving between calls, you're going to need something that keeps you going. He said, because there's going to be a lot of rejection out there, right? People are going to say, what are you doing here? And you are. You're always on somebody else's turf when you're cold calling, right? So it was a tape of Zig Ziglar, and I would listen and learn. So I learned from the best from the very beginning. Never imagined that I'd once share the stage with him, right?
Wow.
He impacted over 250 million people. However, you can learn to embrace it. So I did that early. Or you can say, okay, and you hear people say, well, don't cold call, warm call. Okay. Yeah.
Hey, man, I got to take the medicine no matter how you want to, whatever you want to call it, how you want a spoon or you want to give it to me in a cup. Got to take it.
Or you can do this and you can build your brand and let your brand create the opportunity for you, right? So that's an area that a lot of people miss, and we've never had better opportunities to build brand. Kevin E., you help people build brand through podcasts and things like that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Content, yeah. So the good thing about branding, Michael, please riff on this, and we'll keep kicking this around. But if you just determine that you're not going to cold call, then focus on your brand, because your brand is prospecting for you 24/7, man. When you're sleeping, if you'll build an efficient brand, and you don't do that in a day, but you do build it daily.
That's great. And I think what Edwin said there, I'll just slow that down. If you don't like cold calling, build your brand. How do you build your brand? Content. How do you get content? You post on your platforms. You have to post content. And then here's what we're seeing now as we're training and we're getting it moving through this with small businesses and corporate alike. It's like, man, I can't stand creating content. It starts wearing me down. Well, you don't like cold calling either. Well, I don't like content. Well, it's easier for me to pull content out. This podcast right here, we will send this 10 or 12-minute podcast out. We'll get 6 or 7 little snippets that we can put out across all our platforms. It's about building your content. That's how you build your brand. And that's almost like money while you sleep or mailbox money. It's cold calling while you sleep. You're able to reproduce and allocate this content to come in and put it for one of our lost leader sales funnels. So we'll put some of this content out and then give away the Ziegler Born to Win documentary behind it. They'll give us their contact information, and then we can start dripping on them without having to make that first phone call. So by the time we do make that phone call, now you talk about building your brand instead of making the phone calls. By the time we do make that cold call, at some point you make a warm call or a cold call. Well, by the time we do that, they've already seen us. They've seen our quote posters that we post every day, Edwin, the positive, the pure, the powerful that pour into people. They see the podcasts that we do. They see our live snippets. They see the videos. They see us on all platforms that we're on. So what that does is help build our brand. People are familiar with us, so when they talk to us, they already go, oh, yeah, you are that guy.
Yeah, when you build your brand, it allows you to challenge your own excuses too.
Man.
Right? Because your brand is doing that for you. It is building the connectivity and the bridges that are part of relationships, right? So challenge your own excuses. But if you're new in sales and you're just starting your career, then there's also, while understanding the value of building your brand, but never more important, keep pouring into that. But you know what? Embrace that cold call. I learned so much from it. They didn't want to hire me. 18 months later, I became the youngest national sales trainer in that organization's history. And they basically said, hey, if this young guy, green behind his ears, can do it, then we can challenge the excuses of these older dogs that feel like, this area's been saturated. Every time I go in, they've said somebody's called on them there before, and challenge your own excuses, right? I didn't know, so I just kept going. I just knew enough to follow the process.
Ignorance is bliss.
Right?
Yeah, lean into the process. You don't know it.
Lean into the process, and I can still do that. That canned presentation, and I know you did that. You sold knives, right? And I sold video alarm systems, right? And I'd go into people's small businesses and talk to them about the crime problem, man. Wow.
Oh,
yeah.
Fear, motivation.
So that is right. Hey, man, I'm just here. Is the owner here? Yeah. I'm going to say, well, let me just talk to you a minute. Hold about the crime problem. I said that one time, man. This old dude pulled out a big old gun and he said,
plop.
Oh, yeah, we ain't got no crime problem here. What you need now, boy?
Yeah, what you talking about, son?
Yeah, that's right.
Ah, that's great.
Build your brand.
What's your, and you know what I can remember best about selling knives? I mean, I still sometimes talk about dreams. I still have to do a presentation. I can do it all I think I'm still doing that back from however long ago, but it's the phone approach. It's cold calling Mrs. Jones from next door. Hey, Miss Jones, Michael Ray Newman. I know you don't remember me personally, but I was overseeing a friend of yours' house, Edwin. Edwin said you might be able to help me out. See, I'm going to school over here at Midwestern State University, and I'm giving these presentations. The best part about it, I spent 20, 25 minutes with you. You don't have to buy anything now. You don't have to buy anything. That's the best part. But it takes me 20, 25 minutes. I get credit for showing it, whether you buy or not.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if 3:33 or 3:51 is better for you tomorrow.
The alternative close.
Yeah, and then it's like 3:51. Boy, it must be on a schedule.
Yeah, he's busy. But back on building the brand for a minute, guys. As Michael was alluding to, you can repurpose your content. You should go to an expert, somebody like Kevin E. that can help drive that if you're not sure. But also an area where people miss on building brands. And I ask them all the time, I say, do you do a really good job? Are you conscientious? Are you thoughtful? Did you follow through? And almost always they say, yeah. I said, do people like you? Yeah, for the most part, they really do. Then what about the testimonial? Because getting testimonials is part of your brand.
That is.
And we don't do that. And one of the reasons we don't do that is we don't want to come back and ask. We don't want to feel intrusive or salesy. But if you've earned that testimonial, you need to promote that. And oftentimes, Kevin, people be very passive in that. I know there's ways to get your name at the top of the Google list and all these things, or you've got some survey, and all that's cool, but there's nothing like going back and saying, leading with gratitude and saying, tapping into other people's feelings, motives, and beliefs, because that's why they buy. Go back to them, as Michael says, make it about them, and then say, because it's a journey, it's continuing. So a testimonial and asking for testimonials, people are willing to do it. I say it all the time. I might say, hey, Kevin E., I really appreciate the opportunity to come into your professional studio. I feel like we've got a really good synergy together. How do you feel about that? And you would probably answer what? How do you feel about our partnership and working relationship, Kevin E.?
I always really enjoy it.
Yeah, and so you know what I'd like to do is just be able to continue to build that, and I'd love to be able to help you. Hey, Kevin E., would you mind taking a few minutes, maybe even just a minute or two, and just kind of writing out succinctly what you feel like you have benefited from our relationship? Would you mind doing that for me?
And I would say yes.
Yeah, and you know what? And I'd say, and I'll be happy to do the same for you. It's that simple, folks. Right?
Honestly, every time after we have a day like this, when I go home, I think, I wish we did this more often. I wish I had more of this in my day-to-day.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. It's a good representation of both sides, I think.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So testimonials are part of your brand. The good news is what we can do at Edge Global is we can help you build your brand, right? So your brand is working for you, Michael.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the great ways you want content, need content, you get a podcast. If you look at what we do with this podcast, we put out 10 or 12-minute podcasts. We send them off to Fiverr. I'll tell you some of the secret sauce. They break it down. Or sometimes Kevin E. does it, but when he doesn't have time, we'll send it off to Fiverr. Fiverr sends it back, and we put a podcast out every week. Kevin E. gets it, edits it, puts it up for us, does everything for us. Fiverr breaks it up for us into little snippets. So we have something to put out every single day, and we get to repurpose it, which makes people know who we are. The testimonial piece, and I'm going to wrap it up from there, but the testimonial piece, I think, is something so many people miss because people want to help you. Whether they buy from you or not, they want to give you testimony, especially when they feel good about it. They love you. They want to give you a testimonial. There's a reason that, and I don't care if they are a beginner or a CEO of a $250 million company that turns around and says, Michael Ray and Edwin are the greatest motivational duo in North America today. And when it comes to our coaching, speaking, and training platform, they have literally impacted our bottom line. Bam.
That's powerful, man.
All we did was ask.
Yeah, we did. And you know what? There's a difference, though, between marketing and branding.
You like how I rebranded that and worked that in there?
I
You like
did.
how I
You
did
worked
that?
it right in there.
Did that
man.
pretty good, right?
Marketing is like asking someone on a date. Okay, we've all done that. And you know what? We've all faced a pain of rejection. Branding is the daggone reason they say yes.
Man.
Yeah, man.
I love that, guys. I'm going to end it with there. Hey, guys, appreciate y'all stopping in. Make this about you. How can you get your content, your name, your brand out there? Always be building your brand. You are an influencer, whether you be a micro-influencer or a big old huge influencer like Edwin Brick, guys. You know for a fact we appreciate you. Play hard, have fun, make it count. Give us a shout. Appreciate you, E. Thanks, Kevin. See you.